Assalamu alaikum, I am Dr. Sania. Today we will discuss the histology of the female reproductive system. Female reproductive system, as you know, consists of uterus, fallopian tubes, ovaries, vagina and external genitalia. We will also discuss the histology of mammary gland in this lecture. First of all, we will discuss the ovary. In this diagram, you can see here the histological structure of the ovaries. The outermost layer of the ovary is a germinal epithelium made up of simple cuboidal epithelium. Then, just beneath this germinal epithelium, there is a layer of dense irregular connective tissue known as tunica albuginea. Then we have the cortex. Cortex have the growing follicles, as you can see in this diagram, and the most inner layer is the medulla. Then you can also see the hilum, from where the vessels and nerves enter and leave the ovary. So these are the mainly different parts of the histological structure of ovary. Now we will discuss one by one. The hilum cells, which are the mainly identical to the Leydig cells and may contain the Schrenk's crystalloids. Small clumps of hilous cells are often found near the blood vessels. Medulla contains the stromal cells identical to those which are in the cortex. Cortex mainly has two components, a stroma and structures that producing gametes. Cortical stroma has loosely packed spindle-shaped fibroblast-like cells which are arranged in a whorled pattern. Collagen fibers between stromal cells are prominent in outer cortex and their number increases. In this diagram, you can see here the outermost arrow is indicating the epithelium, which is the germinal epithelium, simple cuboidal. Then you can see here the cortex. In the cortex, the S is showing the stroma, where you have the whorled appearance of the fibers. A lot of collagen fibers are here. Again, this is the diagram. Outermost arrow is showing the simple cuboidal epithelium and the inner arrow are showing the growing follicles in the cortex. Ovary, mainly its stroma, provide the structural support and forms the theca interna and externa around the follicles and secretes steroid hormones. There are three types of stromal steroid secreting cells. Number one are the scattered luteinized stromal cells, which are numerous during pregnancy. Number two are the stromal cells that form thecal layers. And number three are the enzymatically active stromal cells, which are numerous in postmenopausal women and secrete testosterone. In the cortex, the main structure are the ovarian follicles. These are located in the cortex and surrounded by the stromal cells. A follicle consists of an oocyte surrounded by one or more layers of follicular cells. Two ovaries of adult female have about 400,000 follicles. Most of them will degenerate. About 450 follicles will cycle to ovulation in lifetime. This is the diagram showing different stages of the follicles. This is the also diagram showing the primordial follicle with the flattened epithelium and the oocyte inside. Then we have the primary follicle, where now the simple flattened epithelium is converted into the simple cuboidal epithelium. Then we have the multilaminar primary follicle, where you can see here the multiple layers of follicular cells. Then we have the secondary follicle. Here you can also see the cavities. Then the Graafian follicle, where the antrum is properly formed with the cumulus operus, corona radiata and the thecal layers. We will discuss them in detail. Types of ovarian follicles. According to the morphological characteristic, follicles can be categorized into the primordial follicle, Growing follicles, as I told you, unilaminar, multilaminar, secondary follicles, and the mature follicles, which are also known as the tertiary or Graafian follicles. In this diagram, you can see the outermost cortex, innermost medulla, and the blood vessels are leaving or entering through the hilum. Firstly, the primordial follicle. As I show you the diagram of the primordial follicle, where the primordial follicles contain a primary oocyte that entered the prophase of first meiotic division. Primary oocytes surrounded with the one layer of flattened follicular cells, which are separated by a basal lamina from the stroma. Many of them degenerate during lifetime, most numerous in the fetus, and 1 million are present at birth. At the onset of the puberty, their number reduced to about 250,000, and its diameter of oocyte in them is the 25 micrometer. They have the euchromatic nucleus with the large nucleolus. This is the diagram showing the primordial follicle. With the arrow, you can see the simple flattened epithelium, and inside is the primary oocyte and with the euchromatic nucleus and the prominent nucleolus. Then we have the growing follicles, where the oocyte diameter increases to 100 to 150 micrometer. Nucleus also enlarges and called the germinal vesicle. Organelles increase in number and amount. Follicular cells now become cuboidal. In case of primordial follicle, the follicular cells were flattened, but in growing follicles, they are cuboidal. Unilaminar primary follicle has one layer of cuboidal follicular cells, while multilaminar primary follicle has several layers of follicular cells. We also have the zona pellucida, which is secreted by the oocyte and is composed of 3 glycoproteins, ZP1, ZP2, ZP3. Forms just outside the oocyte membrane, thick basal lamina. Follicle cells, philopodia, extend into the zona pellucida, as do oocyte microvilli, and joined by the gap junctions. Stromal cells differentiate into theca folliculi that has 2 layers, theca externa and interna. A thickened basal lamina separated the theca interna from the granulosa cells. In this diagram, you can see here from inside to outside the primary oocyte. Then we have from ZP is the zona pellucida. Outside are the follicular cells. Then just outside the follicular granulosa cells, we have the theca interna and theca externa. Theca interna and theca externa both are different. Theca interna cells are more cuboidal with round nuclei, while theca external cells have flattened cells. Theca interna have the steroid producing cell features, so they have smooth endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria. They produce androstenedione, which is converted to the estradiol by granulosa cells. These are highly vascularized, while the theca externa composed of connective tissue and stromal cells with vessels forming a plexus. Secondary follicles, granulosa and theca cells increase in the number. Then fluid filled spaces will appear in the granulosa layer. They will fuse to form the antrum or cavity. Then these granulosa cells, the fluid is mainly composed of glycosaminoglycans, proteoglycans, steroid binding proteins, steroids and some hormones. Then in the secondary or growing follicle, we also have the cumulus ophorus. What is this? It is a small group of granulosa cells that surround primary oocyte and project into the antrum. A single layer of granulosa cells that immediately surround the primary oocyte is known as the corona radiata. Most of the follicle at this stage become atretic. Some granulosa cells of atretic follicles do not degenerate and form interstitial glands which secrete androgens. This is the diagram. With the arrow you can see the cumulus ophorus projecting into the antrum. The pinkish area is the cavity antrum, which is formed due to the collection of the fluid consisting of glycosaminoglycans and proteoglycans, and all around the cavity is the granulosa cells. Then we have the mature or the Graafian follicle. Mature follicle develops due to continued proliferation of granulosa cells and production of more like a follicle which undergo ovulation. Now the ovulation, by the time of ovulation, it may be over 2.5 centimeter in diameter. This follicle bulges from the ovary surface. Because of continued formation of Leica folliculi, cumulus ophorus detaches and float freely in the Leica folliculi. Again, this is the diagram showing the cumulus ophorus. PO mean the primary oocyte. The cavity inside is shown, and in the other diagram you can also see the corona radiata, which is a single layer of granulosa cell immediately surrounding the oocyte, while the cumulus ophorus are the granulosa cells surrounding one side of the primary oocyte projecting into the antrum. Again, this is the diagram showing the cell oocyte, cumulus ophorus, granulosa cells, and the thecal cells. Oocyte meiotic deviance. First meiotic deviance occurs just prior to the ovulation under the influence of meiotic inducing factors, while the second meiotic deviance then begins and stops at the metaphase, and second deviance will be completed after fertilization. Ovulation, fluid pressure builds up until follicle rupture due to formation of proteoglycans and hyaluronic acid and attraction of water. Before ovulation, the surface of the ovary loses its blood supply just where the follicle pressing it, and known as the stigma. Perifollicular connective tissue broken down by proteases. Ovum, which have the secondary oocyte, is drawn into open end of oviduct. Ovum remains viable about 24 hours after ovulation. Remnants of the Graafian follicle are converted into the corpus hemorrhagicum. What is corpus hemorrhagicum? Following the ovulation, the remainder of the follicle collapses and some ruptured blood vessels leak into the follicular cavity and forming a clot that is known as the corpus hemorrhagicum. We also have the corpus luteum, which is very important structure. After removing the clot by phagocytes, a temporary hormone secreting structure formed by granulosa cells and theca internal cells are known as the corpus luteum. Granulosa cells hypertrophy into the large pale staining granulosa lutein cells with organelles necessary for the steroid production. They constitute about 80% of the cells of the corpus luteum. These cells produce progesterone and convert androgen produced by theca lutein cells into estrogen. In this diagram, you can see the structure of the corpus hemorrhagicum with the blood inside, and this is the corpus luteum where we have the theca lutein cells. Theca interna cells form the theca lutein cells, which are smaller and darker staining than granulosa lutein cells. Located in the folds of the cells in perimeter of corpus luteum, form about 20% of the cell's population and are highly vascularized. They produce estrogen, progesterone and androgens. If pregnancy does not occur, corpus luteum of menstruation survives only 10 to 14 days. In pregnancy, it enlarges greatly due to SCG and lasts 6 months and called corpus luteum of pregnancy. Corpus luteum of pregnancy grows to a 5 cm diameter structure. This is the diagram of the corpus luteum. with the theca lutein and the copper lutein granulosa lutein cells. Theca lutein cells are smaller and darker staining. You can see here that with the TL are the theca lutein cells. These are smaller as compared to the granulosa lutein cell, which are shown with the GL. Theca lutein cells have also the hormone secreting properties. Again, this is the diagram showing the theca lutein cells and the granulosa lutein cells. You can easily appreciate their sizes. What is corpus albicans? When the corpus luteum degenerate, it is invaded by the fibroblast which manufacture collagen type 1 and form a fibrous structure known as the corpus albicans. Large ones form after pregnancy and smaller ones after each ovulation. On the surface of the ovary, remnants of the corpus albicans is visible as a scar. Thank you so much. We will discuss the remaining part in the next lecture. Thank you.